Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome to this week's card. Today I use the Delicate Blossom set by Hero Arts and some new pencils that I've never used before. So first I started with taking my color box white pigment ink, which I love, and I stamped off twice because I wanted it to be a really light image because I'm going to be coloring over it with these pencils. So I'm going to use 2 greens and 2 reds and a cream. And I'm going to take this one petal at a time. These are called Coloursoft pencils by Derwent, and they're the same company that makes the Inktense pencils. Anyway, so I'm going to start off with the highlight, and so I'm using cream, and I just sort of figure out with this one petal, and you got to approach it one petal at a time, where would the light come off? Where is it going to be bending? So I colored that reflection with the cream, and now I'm not really going over the cream at all. I'm just sort of coloring next to the cream with this kind of a light red. I think it's called Scarlet. Yeah, Scarlet. And now I'm taking a color called Loganberry, which is just a dark red, and I'm doing the same thing. So I'm coloring right on the outside of that red. And really what I'm trying to do is get coverage of black. So I'm just going to cover all the black, and then I'm going to go back in and blend these colors together. So first I'm blending the red into the Loganberry, the Scarlet into Loganberry, so the medium into the dark. And then I'm going to take my red and I'm going to kind of come into the white a little bit. And then I'm going to take cream. Take my cream and kind of go out a little bit with it. So I'm just overlapping all these colors. And as you can see, as you continue to do this, they really all blend together beautifully. And finally I took the white, I kind of blended out a little bit, creating even some lines in there to make it look textured like a flower petal would. And then my last step here was to take the cream and just draw a little bit, not around the whole entire thing, but just where the light's going to be reflecting most on the edge of the flower. And that really makes it pop on the black. And that's all there is to it. So just 3 colors and a lot of blending. So I'm going to show you this petal underneath. Same technique here, and I'm going to use the cream first, and then I'm going to go around the cream with the Scarlet, and then I'm going to take my dark red Loganberry. And this petal is behind the petal I just did, so I'm going to create a shadow because the 2 petals are going to create that are in front of this one are going to create just a little bit of shadow. So if you see, I took my darkest pencil and I colored around the petal in front of it, and that'll make it look a little bit more realistic, give you a little bit more dimension. So here I am going, taking my red and I'm blending in all the colors, and now I'm taking my cream and sort of blending that out, and you just kind of go back and forth until you get it the way you want it. Alright, I'm going to show you one more petal, and this is like a double time, I think. And this one curls kind of downward, and so the light's going to be reflecting where that petal is curving. And so that's how I figure out where my cream is going to be. And then again, the red, and then the dark red around it. And then the shadow behind that petal that's right there on top. And the dark's going to go all the way to the edge of the petal, and then you'll see later on I'm going to lighten it up a little bit down there. I'm going to talk about these pencils in just a minute. Okay, here I am taking the white, creating a few lines, and then you'll see how I make it a little bit lighter on the edge there because there is going to be some light reflection. And it's just a process of going back and forth until you get it the way you like it. Alright, so I'm going to speed this up quite a bit because there are a lot of petals. And I would say it took me to do this whole entire card about an hour, just in real time. So it's not a it's not a fast process by any means, but it's kind of relaxing to sit and color. And when you're done, it's almost like a piece of art, which is why the card that I made from it, I didn't put a sentiment on it because I didn't want to cover it up at all. And so I sort of put a frame around it. I was like, you know, this is kind of like a piece of art. And I put a lot of effort into it, so that's the way I left it. Now I slowed it down right there so you can see how I connected two pieces with the white to make it look like the petal was kind of turning, where you saw the inside and then you saw the outside. And that's really important for those petals because it really makes it look more like a flower that way. Okay, so as far as these pencils go, I love them. I love them because they're soft. They're very, very soft. So the color goes on very easily. You don't have to press hard. It does crumble a little bit because it's soft, and so the way I handled that was I just sort of, I would color a little bit and then I'd sort of blow on the paper and it would, they would dissipate, they'd be gone. And not too much, it's not annoying or anything, it's just, what happens when you have a soft pencil. But the nice thing is it blends really well, as you can see, but it still maintains kind of a texture. So it doesn't blend so that it's all one color. Each color keeps, you can still see it, it's all visible. One thing I did have trouble with was putting light on dark. So it's a little bit harder to put light on dark, but putting dark over light is really easy. Blending them together is really easy. And my favorite thing about these pencils, I have to say, is that they're different. They're not like any other pencil out there, because on black paper, how gorgeous is this, right? So how often can you color on black paper and have it look so great? And it's different. Not a lot of people are using colored pencils on dark paper. And anyway, I just thought it was really cool. Dick Blick sells these pencils. And as I said earlier, they're the same company that makes the Inktense pencils. They come in the same kind of sets that the watercolors come in, which is there's a 6, a 12, a 24, a 36, and a 72. And I actually have the 72 thanks to one of my blog readers, believe it or not. Shout out to Melba. Thank you very much. Such a sweet lady. And these pencils are actually fairly affordable. They're a little bit less expensive than the Inktense pencils. And Dick Blick is actually having a sale right now. It's September, let's see, the 18th today. So anyway, check it out. One more thing about these pencils is I tried them out with water just to see how they would work as a watercolor, and it really doesn't, I mean, it blends just a tiny little bit, but really nothing like the Inktense pencils. So if you're looking for watercolor, I would stick with the Inktense pencils. But these are really nice and pretty and just something different. So I'm just going to finish up these petals here, and then I'll show you how I colored the stems and then how I put the rest of the card together. Okay, now for the stems. We're talking about a really small area here, so I used just kind of a darker green and a lighter green. I colored the whole thing with the dark green, and then I just used the light green to just create a tiny little highlight. Another thing about these stencils I forgot to tell you is that you really need to sharpen them quite a bit. So I sharpened them several times while I was coloring, and they sharpen really nicely actually. But it's better to keep them sharp because then you get a finer, crisper line when you're using them on the paper. Alright, so on these little thingies here, these little leaves I guess, I just did the same thing with some light reflection using the light green. And I'm going to speed this up just to color in the rest of these stems quickly. Okay, so now I'm going to take some Fired Brick Distress ink, and I've trimmed down a piece of Nina Solar White cardstock. I've also trimmed my flower piece down, and I'm just going to color the edges because only the edges are going to show. And then I'm going to spritz it with water, just flicking water, spraying it in my hand and then just flicking it around. And that's going to give me some really nice texture in my frame here. And by the way, there's no need to set those Coloursoft pencils. They don't rub off. I was rubbing my hand across it to see if anything would come off, and it didn't. So it, I guess, I don't want to say it dries because it wasn't really wet, but it sets really well. Anyway, so I just did here these two pieces, and I just left it like that as I talked about earlier. So that's about it. A nice, beautiful, handmade card that hopefully the person you send it to is going to appreciate. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next week. Thanks for watching.